Welcome today to celebrate Latina Jefas. So yes, let's begin. Thank you all for being here in this beautiful space. Thank you and welcome again to all of you who joined us last week on our first session and all of you joining us today for the first time. Today we are hosting our second and last Celebrate Latina Jefas conversation. We will hear and celebrate, vamos a celebrar, incredible stories of successful Latina business owners. So let's inspire each other to continue building and scaling our Latinx businesses by hearing from those who have successfully taken their business to the next level. So let me introduce you to our incredible partner, Comcast Rise. In partnership with Comcast Rise, we are hosting these conversations to celebrate Latinx small businesses by bringing together 8 established Latina founders who have been sharing openly about their journey and where you will have the opportunity to learn from them. We also want to amplify awareness about the Comcast Rise program and drive applications from Latina, Latino, Latinx, Hispanic, independent small business owners. So I would love to start our conversation today by introducing you to Vera Cuevas. Vera is Comcast Digital and Media Strategy Director. She will tell us more about Comcast Rise. And for those of you that were with us last week, you probably already met Vera briefly. Today, we went to ask Vera a few questions to thoroughly understand the program, as we know there were some specific questions about this initiative that we all still had. So, hola Vera, ¿cómo estás?
Hola Ana.
Hola.
Muchas gracias. Thank you for bringing me back today. I'm really excited to continue to create awareness of Comcast Rise among the Latinx community.
Thank you so much for taking the time for joining us and actually, for bringing this beautiful initiative to life. So as I mentioned before, at We All Grow Latina, we are incredibly proud to partner with Comcast Rise because we know how important it is to bring attention to those opportunities that are out there for the community. So many probably know that I define myself as a soul-centered entrepreneur, which means that I lead with intention and I connect to my mission. And I bring this mission to We All Grow. So our mission at We All Grow is to elevate the voices and stories of Latinas via the power of community. So with that in mind, would you please tell us, and these Latina Jefas that are attending today, what is the mission and the primary goal of the Comcast Rise initiative? And how does it work? Who should apply and why?
Sure. So Comcast Rise stands for Representation, Investment, Strength, and Empowerment. And the company launched this initiative exactly a year ago to help small businesses that were being impacted by the pandemic. The mission of Comcast Rise is really to create opportunities that will provide sustainability, but as well as continued growth for these small businesses owned by Black and Brown business owners, right? The program is composed of 2 parts. The first one is what we call the core program, and it provides small businesses with marketing, advertising, and technology services. And the second part is the investment fund, which qualified small business owners can get up to $10,000. Who can apply? Really, any small business owner who classifies themselves as Black, Hispanic, Asian American, Indigenous, or of mixed backgrounds. The application is completely free, and really the business owners can choose what part of the program they want to apply to, which one will basically benefit their business the most.
It's super important that you're offering the financial support via the grants, but that you're also offering resources. We have always heard from the community that amplification and resources, mentorship and access to those resources are just equally as important. So that's why we're just really excited to be able to support it by raising more awareness and hoping that many of those attending today take advantage of this opportunity and actually apply and or share to those amigas and amigos that you have that might be able to apply. So Vera, why is it essential for Comcast Rise to support and own and celebrate Black and Brown small businesses?
I mean, we all know that small businesses are the backbone of our community. And when we look at recent economic data, we see that Black businesses have declined by 41%, and Latinx businesses have declined by 32%. When you compare that to the general population, which has declined 21%, there's a huge discrepancy there, right? So Comcast is taking tangible actions with this multi-year program to drive long-term impact and change. So as we like to say in Spanish, Comcast está poniendo su granito de arena a la causa. So it's really important that, companies and even individuals, we come together to support small businesses. Thank you.
I actually went to, I have a few updates before we move on to introducing our jefas. Unfortunately, Kalima de Sousa won't be able to join us as she is currently facing a personal emergency. We deeply care about Kalima. She's a beautiful soul, which we have had the fortune of having in some of our events before. She is the owner of Café con Libros in Brooklyn, and we send her all our love and support during these moments. So now, let me introduce you to the powerful group of Latina jefas that we will be chatting with today. These 3 inspiring Latina business owners are here to talk openly about their ups and downs and the process that has taken them to be where they are now. Today and every day, we do celebrate the stories of incredible Latina jefas because when one grows, we all grow. And that is the whole point of today, to hear, to share, learn, and celebrate all of you, cada una de ustedes, aquí, jefas, en este lugar presentes. So for our conversation today, we have the honor of being joined by Jocelyn Ramirez. Jocelyn, ¿cómo estás? Jocelyn is
Thank you so much for being.
I am so happy to
having
see
me
you.
here. Yeah.
So happy to see you. Jocelyn is Solo Verde's founder. She's a plant-based chef, college professor, yoga instructor, and advocate for healthy food access in her community. Jocelyn founded Todo Verde in 2015 with a mission to create delicious and nutritious plant-based food inspired by her Mexican and Ecuadorian roots for the East Side community of LA. Also joining us is Daniela Senior. Hola, Daniela. Daniela is the CEO and founder of Colada Shop. Colada Shop, with 4 locations, has quickly become a DC area favorite and has received numerous national acclaims. Daniela is also the CEO and founder of the cocktail bar Serenata Sumo Juice Bar, Spritz Cocktail Bar Pop-Up, and the co-founder of Bresca Restaurant. She serves on the boards of Women Chefs and Restaurateurs and is a James Beard Women Leadership Program Fellow and Mentor. Así no más. And last but not least, we have TK Tunches. TK is the creative director and founder of Austin-based maximalist accessory brand Las Ofrendas, local marketplace and cultural event, Frida Friday ATX, and creative nightlife venture Fuego ATX. From her artistic practice to her community work, she is committed to creating spaces that amplify and promote women of color, BIPOC, queer, and emerging artists while creating resources to build wealth within economically marginalized communities. So please, everyone, join me with some noise, claps, love, whatever little emoji you want to put up there, and appreciation emojis, and welcoming these Latina jefas. So let's start. I have a question for all 3 of you. So it is magical to have you all be part of this conversation. You have been able to reach incredible things for you and our community, and do it even during the tough times that we have, especially for businesses like yours. So I know this is a journey, and congratulations on the past, the now, and the future. You've all come from different journeys and work in different areas. And at the same time, through collective sharing, I find that we can learn from each other, that there is more in common than different. And most notably, that we are not alone. It is vital to learn from our fellow Latina jefas wins and to talk more openly about our journeys, because you never know how impactful what you say can be to someone who perhaps was looking for answers. So my first question, and I would love for all of you to please describe your journey as an entrepreneur. How did you start? And did you ever imagine getting to where you are now? Jocelyn, let's go ahead and start with you.
Yeah. I'm in the hot seat now.
I know.
Well, I mean, I think that this journey has been really incredible. I started over 6 years ago now at local farmers markets because I had a dream. I had a vision that I could start this business called Todo Verde and be able to create more culturally relevant plant-based food for the community in a way that resonated with us. When I looked around as a plant-based person at that time, looked around for guidance, for recipes, for all the things, I saw that there weren't a lot of people of color in that space, or they didn't have a big platform. They didn't have restaurants. I had to, a lot of times, go out of my neighborhood to be able to find the things that I needed. And so I thought I wanted to be a part of what the solution could look like. And I started this business, small farmers markets, only superfood smoothies, agua fresca, and slowly grew it, knowing, okay, I've never had this formal food training, but if I go step by step, learning, meeting people, perhaps one day I can achieve that dream of being able to make more food for my community. And so over the years, we've done catering. We're now one of the official food vendors at the Ford Theater here in Los Angeles, which is a part of the LA Philharmonic, which is so crazy to think there's like a major concert venue here in LA that's mostly plant-based. And then I'm a New York Times recipe contributor now. I published a cookbook last year. And so all these great things have been able to happen because I was able to follow that dream and because I found something that really connects to people. It's not just the food itself, but it's the story. It's how people see themselves in me and in this team that we've built with Todo Verde. And last year has been so incredibly difficult to really shift gears and how we were doing business. We went from catering, about to sign a lease to open a restaurant, like just doing all these things that were going to be in person, and then COVID happened, and so I had to switch gears and be able to do a lot of online cooking classes. Thankfully, the book was successful during that time. It came out April of last year, and I thought it was going to be game over for the book, and it actually ended up being our saving grace. And so there have been a lot of programs like the one that you're learning more about today, or maybe have learned about, where I was able to apply for grants that really helped us stay afloat during that time, including one with We All Grow Latina, that was a collaboration with El Pollo Loco, which was interesting because we're vegan, but hey,
I know.
It still
It wasn't about that. It
business.
was actually about supporting restaurant and food business jefas in LA. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. So yeah, I think that, and I know we're not getting into like advice portion or anything like that, but I think that in times like we're living in now and that we lived through last year, one thing that I oftentimes find myself telling folks who are thinking about starting a business, or maybe they started a business and they're not sure, is to really find something or do the thing that you are most passionate about, that you wake up day in, day out, and you can live, breathe, eat that thing. It really consumes you, especially during times where things feel a little rocky. You know that there's still a vision and a mission that you're reaching towards. And so that for me has been kind of what's helped hold everything together during these crazy times.
It's been beautiful to actually witness. I can call Jocelyn mi amiga, my friend. I mean, I've known her for several years now in LA, and it's been beautiful to be able to witness, just seeing her show up and pop-ups and catering events, or going to like the Smorgasburg on Sundays and seeing her selling there, but always working, always, beyond the hustle, because it's a mission, right? It's a mission that you're on, and seeing that the community has really always stepped up and supported. And I think that's what makes all of our businesses beautiful, that they're so rooted in community and in the things that we want to bring forward, not only for our families, our neighbors, or, our friends, and where we want to see the world to go. So I'm just really excited to see, I was able to go to the Ford and just like seriously have this beautiful moment of like, she's up there and billboards and lights, and everybody's getting to see this beauty of what Jocelyn, what you have manifested through the love of your mission, right? And where it's rooted, that essentially was rooted in family. So congratulations. I'm just really, really happy that we know that it's a journey. And this last year has 18 months now. Gosh, it's not even a year.
Yeah.
Has really put us through that. So now I would love to talk with Daniela. Can you share with us?
Hola, absolutely. Well, from my entrepreneurial journey has been quite a long one. I started my first business when I was 13, actually. Not Colada. Colada Shop is 5 years old, but I started a catering business when I was 13 in the Dominican Republic, and I really just love food and connecting people through it, and saved up money to go to culinary school. And that's kind of how I ended up in the U.S. I'm originally, like I said, from Dominican Republic, and after studying a lot of French techniques, French cooking, and I really just missed home. And I really also saw a huge lack of what represents our community in the DC area. And most importantly, I just felt that there were a lot of hole in the walls, which are beautiful, beautiful food, but that's not all that represents a Latin community. And I felt that it was really, in a way, misrepresented. And I wanted to showcase the beauty. I wanted to have the amazing food, but also show in this city what Latin America is all about, right? It's about also the beautiful spaces, the beautiful people, the community, and the food. And that's how, sorry, Colada Shop. To me, I always would say, I was at the time traveling a lot, consulting, and I would say, like, every time I go to a cafe, it's like a sea of beige. It didn't have any color, didn't have any soul. They all looked the same. The food was all the same. And I was just like, so, with Colada Shop, we have as a mission, like we call it our 4 Cs, which is like coffee, cooking, cocktails, and Cubanism. And the Cubanism aspect is like the music, the hospitality, like that kind of just, movement that, you have when you go in, and just really having a place for people to experience the beauty of the Caribbean, Cuba, Latin America in general. So, Colada Shop is my baby. I have other restaurants, but that's really the one where I dedicate most of my energy. And my oldest, we have 4 locations, and they're all very special. We focus on, each of them has different murals from artist Kiliayano, and just like, I see each mural as like in each place different, as they're all a person. They're connecting to that community, and we're all about bringing that community together. Thinking about, did I ever imagine I would be where I am today? Absolutely not. Like last week, we had, Vice President Harris come visit us, and I was like, someone pinch me. Like, how did this happen? How did I end up here? How is she here? Like, and it was kind of really a crucial point, I would say, for me to realize, because what I have accomplished in, the last years, it's also important to recognize, and I'm pretty terrible at that, recognizing what you've built, because, it's been so much hustle. It's been so hard. It really, looking at it now, it seems all glam and, oh my God, you have 4 locations. And, it's, our last location that we opened is in Bloomingdale's, like, and their new store, Bloomies, which people, it's like, major retailer, and people are like, oh, fancy, how you end up here. And like, to me, that's also, a pathway of, following our mission of making sure that we are showcasing in that, top category, the beauty of Latin America, right? So it's definitely hard to believe. It has been a complete roller coaster, and I want to make sure that, everyone hears this, because, it's easy to see things when they're accomplished, or, I never think I'm done, certainly not now, but I feel like, it takes, every entrepreneur goes through a very long journey to celebrate their success. And that journey is very hard, especially, as Jocelyn was saying, last year was, beyond difficult. There was an everyday, a new challenge. And, I think the biggest thing I can say is keep centered to your goals, and making sure that, you are staying true to yourself, your mission, your people, and what you're trying to accomplish. And if you love what you do, just keep grinding, and, don't take no for an answer, basically.
I am so grateful that you've all decided to show up with so much authenticity and vulnerability about the realness of entrepreneurship. That's how I like to show up as well, right? Because we entrepreneurship, as we know, Latinas, we're creating new businesses at a 6 times higher rate than any other group. And we do that because we are so resilient. We do that because we know how to take the tools that are available to us, right? That's what we've seen such a huge increase in the last few years, especially with online businesses. But at the same time, we need to be super honest about what the road and the journey to entrepreneurship is, so that we can be ready as we lead them, because it's also easy right now to think that oh, es muy fácil. Anybody can put up an Instagram page or start selling from there and that's it, right? There's so much more that goes into it. So I appreciate that. And I think I'm going to have to join Melissa on a road trip to Maryland. No, I mean to DC to go to Colada, or we need to get you to the West Coast. We need a pop-up over here. We need the Colada pop-up over here. TK, I am so happy that you're joining us and to hear more about your journey.
Hi, it's such an honor to listen to both of you speak and to be invited. Anna, thank you for having me. I think it's so much of what you've already said really resonates with me. I started Las Ofrendas 8 years ago, actually, but as an artist, as a multimedia artist. And I didn't start off thinking, oh, I'm going to grow a business. I thought, oh, I just want to like make some jewelry, travel to Mexico and see where I go from there. I didn't think, oh, I'm going to build any kind of brand. That was not my intention behind my work. And I spent about 4 years just traveling and listening to Indigenous elders talk to me about their use of gemstones and our medicines and how did our ancestors use color and natural flowers or medicines in order to take care of our communities and heal ourselves. And that was what the impetus was for Las Ofrendas becoming a brand. Because what I realized was there was there was just so much missing in terms of representation for Latinx, Latina, Latino, Latine, and Indigenous and queer people in the mainstream to be seen. And so I wanted to create pieces and graphic design and I make flower crowns that really encourage people to take up space, that were statement pieces, maximalist, that encouraged our people to be seen, that encouraged our people to feel like we are empowered and our ancestors fought for us to be here and we have the right to take up that space. And that started to transfer over. So that's what birthed Las Ofrendas. Las Ofrendas became a formal LLC in December or November 7th of 2019, right before COVID hit. And I decided to take that piece, to that step to create a brand. At that point, I knew because we were doing so well on the market in physical market spaces. I had founded a local market called Frida Friday ATX, and that market was intended to support and promote women of color. And at that point, it was specifically focused on women of color. And I thought, okay, well, let's take the next step. And then COVID hit. And it was maybe the scariest moment that I have ever experienced, but it sent me out of fear into overdrive because I could just empathize with, and more than just my own brand, like the love I have for my community and thinking all these small makers, these independent creatives that are completely dependent on this vending environment for their income needed a space to be supported. And so we pivoted within 30 days, started making virtual markets, figured out how to run everything online. I was selling almost nothing online at that point, and figured out how to build an e-commerce business. And I think that actually COVID, and it's such a funny thing how fear can be an impetus, right? Pushed us into overdrive and then reminded us of like exactly how resilient our ancestors are, exactly how resilient our people are, and exactly how powerful we are and able to create and manifest our own destinies. So that is what what came out of that COVID situation. So it's so interesting and powerful to hear, Jocelyn, about your book succeeding, or what happened during that time, because I think our creativity got pushed to the limit and really we had to figure it out, and we did. So many of us did figure it out, right? In terms of imagining where we could be now, since we've come out of COVID, we've gone from producing 1 market a month to producing 7 markets a month. So we produce 7 on-site markets. We work with approximately 200 different artists a year, and that's kind of a lowball figure. We've generated upwards of $500,000 this year to go towards the local economy for our vendors based on their feedback to us. And we're just working really hard to create spaces to support our community. And Las Ofrendas has grown. Las Ofrendas now is both an event production business and also a brand. We had to close our doors of our physical space going into COVID because we just couldn't continue to keep it open, but we're reimagining what we're going to do next with that. And I'm super excited about what 2022 is going to bring for us. And this year has been really about us building the foundations of a strong team to be able to carry our work. And so, which I think is very appropriate because also the Mayan symbol for this year is actually foundation work. So it's returning back to that idea, of ancestor work and remembering that our ancestors are guiding our every step. And, ultimately, next week, we're launching our market back at Waterloo Park, which is a local park, the largest park in Austin. We're anticipating having upwards of 50 vendors in that park, and we're continuing to be a queer-led and intersectional-led marketplace and brand. So it's super exciting. I'm very proud of the work that we're doing. And I think for me, again, not that we're at the advice part, but the most important piece has been really understanding that we don't do it alone. Like that we have to work in a team. We have to build strong teams, and we have to sometimes slow down to make sure that our teams are strong, and so that's where we're at right now.
Ooh, okay. Is it just me, or we need to take a pause and a deep breath right now and just celebrate, really root ourselves in this beautiful moment that we're sharing I'm just like at a loss of words because I just felt like all this energy coming through and through all of you and the stories that you're sharing, and just this feeling of connection and this really push forward, right? That we're all kind of creating right now. So a few things, TK, thank you for gifting us with this. I wrote it down and you said it a couple of times that it sent me out of fear into overdrive. It sent me out of fear. So it's just like this push, this energy, this push forward, instead of this estancamiento, right? This was an opportunity for us to push forward, yet it's also an opportunity to pause and all the work that can be done in that pause, and the most important and foundational work that can be done in that pause. And thank you for sharing about the Mayan symbol for this year foundation, because I think my team can all vouch that I'm not lying, that they've heard me say this whole year. I'm like, we are stepping back. We're not worried about competition, which is fierce right now. We're not worried, not fierce, me too, but the competition is fierce. We're not worried about competition. We are worried about right now, we're settling in the foundation for the company so that we can come back in a much, in a way where we have learned the lessons that these last 2 years have gifted us. So now let's go in deeper, if we may. And I'm going to start with you, Jocelyn. So talking again about these last 2 years and what they have meant for you. We know they meant a lot. Like you shared, you published a book in the middle of a pandemic, right? So if people don't understand what that means no book signings in person, all your plans in that sense were probably shattered, right? And had to come back. You became the food vendor for a major music venue in LA, which is incredible. And we mentioned the Ford. You launched a product line, I Have My Sazones, and you became a New York Times recipe contributor, sharing ancestral and family recipes. Congratulations on all of that and what we know is coming. So, and as we know, Jocelyn, the journey as an entrepreneur is packed with so many different emotions and moments. And like someone mentioned the other day, it's like a roller coaster, right? That you have to embrace the ride at all times. So what have been those moments for you, especially regarding that just into the COVID-19 realities, the before and after? And what have been those decisions you had to make to adapt and change course so that you can stay on business and continue to grow?
Yeah, I mean, there were a lot of major roller coaster moments, everything from figuring out, how am I going to keep my staff on board? Is that possible? Am I doing a disservice to them by keeping them on when there's really no work and I need to help them get on unemployment actually? So kind of bracing ourselves for what was to come. That in itself was already this roller coaster ride. I have a good friend in college who lives in China. And so she was informing a group of us from college of what was going to happen. And so in February, I was already like, all these things, smorgasbord catering, like it's gonna crash. And it sure did. And so that was really, really like the first big bump in the roller coaster ride. And so figuring out, okay, what do I do from here? Like I have this book coming up. Can I provide these online cooking classes? I've never done that before. What software am I going to use? Where are people even going to show up and care? And people sure did. I think that during that time, a lot of folks were looking to cook more at home and were thinking more about plant-based. We were definitely looking at our bodies and our health in a different light because of everything that was happening. And so it really created space to have more of these conversations around like what food means to us, besides just kind of living in this cycle that we had been living in, which is scary to think like we might fall back into that. But this like capitalist cycle where we're like always on the go, we don't really embrace and cherish food in the way that we should. We don't really honor the land and the people that brought the food to us. We just eat, we go, we're doers, and that's all that matters. And really stopping and thinking about like the food that we consume, where it came from, how it gets prepared, and how special it is. And so it created space for that to open up a little bit more in people's homes, thankfully. And then, being able to launch the seasoning was also a huge milestone that just launched last month, actually. So pretty much all of COVID was an opportunity for me to say, okay, can I get a product line off the shelf? It's been a dream of mine, but I haven't had time to do it because I've always been kind of in the throes of like everything else happening with the business. And that was like I knew it was going to be a huge chunk of time to get that off the ground. And so I was like, maybe I can get some grant funding to support this process and to be able to help the home cook be able to create more healthy plant-based meals at home, even easier than cooking the recipes out of the book. And so that was huge to be able to like formulate these essentially like these recipes or these like seasonings that will help people eat deliciously, that still feels culturally relevant. A lot of times when Daniela, you were saying this earlier, like when you used to go into the coffee shops, they all had this sort of like beige aesthetic, it's kind of like when I go into a grocery store and I look at seasoning and there's taco seasoning and it's mild and it's spicy, as if those are the flavors of tacos throughout Mexico, which is absolutely crazy to me.
Can I have a mild taco, please? Me da un taco.
Yeah, exactly. Like, what does that even mean, right? And so even in like our grocery stores that are a little bit more tailored to our population, like that's still very much what you see. And so getting even more into like the nuances of regionality and different styles of cuisine throughout like somewhere like Mexico was really important to me, for folks to see like all the different types of recipes that they can create. So starting with the carnitas al pastor and tinga, and hopefully getting into more products that we would put on the shelves, from cashew crema, moles, pipián, so on and so forth, that people can continue to enjoy. So I think that whenever I have somebody new joining our team, now that we've been like regrowing the team again, I always tell everybody like my main mission, my work is to advance plant-based in whichever way I can. So to create more recipes, to put them out there. Like now I mentioned earlier, like I'm contributing for New York Times. I'm also going to be contributing for Epicurious. I'm going to be working on my next cookbook, and just really trying to advance like what this means for our communities when we have dealt with so many preventable health issues due to lack of resources, due to lack of healthy, nutritious food in our neighborhoods, which is a systemic issue. And so like, how do we start those conversations, address them, and then also provide space to teach people how to get familiar with different types of ingredients that they maybe haven't worked with in the past in their homes, and get them comfortable.
So I want to say thank you for sharing that. I want to say that seeing the comments and reading the questions. I mean, what Jocelyn is saying, again, it's so rooted in mission. It's so rooted in community. It's so rooted in awareness, going back to what we know in our cultura to be true, what we know from our ancestral knowledge to be true, and how we can put that out into the world. And having these platforms like the New York Times is such a big deal, because she's breaking ground. I mean, being there, I want to guess you were the first Latina in the
I mean, I think that probably one of the first
in the cooking section. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there are other Mexican recipes, but they're not written by Mexican folks. And I actually have a funny story because like one of the first recipes that I contributed for summer of this year, I called my mom because I was like, I want to do nopales and chile rojo, which my mom's from Zacatecas, so that's her jam right there. And so I called her and I was like, Mom, nomás quiero saber cuando usted, like when you make the nopales, like I just want to confirm I should write it down, do it this way or whatever. And she was like, nopales? New York Times, nopales? Like, no, mija, I don't think so. Like, I don't think that's gonna work. And I was like, trust me, Mom, it's gonna work, you know? And sure enough, like I think it's an opportunity for us to feel more seen in these spaces and these platforms where we have traditionally felt left out. And so we need more of that. We need to bring in more people into these spaces and say, hey, a platform like New York Times, Epicurious, like Bon Appetit, Food and Wine, like those are our platforms too. They're not just yours. And we need to start to create more of that space.
Exactly. And as those doors are opening, right? Like bring them down because we need to be the ones creating and sharing and not that have be appropriated, not have nopales be appropriated. So what I wanted to say also is that the way to support the work that Jocelyn has already started and for us to continue breaking down those walls is to click on those articles on the New York Times. So we'll try to get the link to your column, right? Share those articles, share those recipes because all of these platforms, they will continue giving us work and opening up more doors if they see that the community is showing up. So that doesn't cost you anything, right? You can also go into your wallet and buy her book because that way it will open up for publishers to want to get more women. Daniela, where's your book? Where did your cookbook? Where we have more Latinas and Latinos, Latinx being published, right? So that's a power of our wallet. Get her seasonings so that maybe we can get her seasonings and Whole Foods or Sprouts or whichever other East Coast and Central Coast, et cetera, central supermarkets, et cetera. That is how we as a community continue supporting the work that these women, as you've seen, as they share their journey, have gone through. So Daniela, I know we're having like such an amazing time and I want to make sure that we're going to get to the audience questions. So Daniela, I am so happy that you joined us because we haven't mentioned yet that you're actually on your honeymoon. So I feel really privileged and honored that you took the time for all of us here to really listen and continue being inspired with and by you. And I definitely hope that you're having a great time. So because as I was introducing you, my thought was just like, wow, just wow. Daniela is such a mastermind at building in the hospitality business, right? And then doing it from that authentic place that elevates our cultura. So I hope you really have time to reflect on that journey and to celebrate it, everything that you've accomplished. So, but I also know that the process from idea to reality is the most important because essentially it is coming with that idea, right? And then believing in that idea so much that you actually manifest it and you take that first step. Can you describe to us how that has happened to you? You have a proven record that it is possible with all those restaurants. And so what are those steps in the general term you would say are essential to launch a business, grow and sustain it? I know we don't have a lot of time because I know we could go hours with that question, right? But what comes to mind?
Hi, Anna, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
So sorry, but I'm gonna need you to. You got cut out for me.
Almost
the entirety of that. I'm so sorry.
No, that's okay. So, can you describe to us like your first steps, right? Because you've manifested so much, you've created so much. But let's go back to like what was that moment from idea to let me take this first step, and what we like to call like baby steps, right? That one after the other creates what you can now look back and see of what you have successfully achieved. So what are those steps in the general term that you would say are essential to launch a business, to grow it and to sustain it?
Yeah, absolutely. One thing I would say is preparation is everything, making sure that you're taking the time to learn and like what you want to do. And honestly, I used the opportunity of basically using other people's money, meaning like I was working for other people that were doing what I wanted to do, right? And like trying to learn as much as possible from their businesses and making sure that I wasn't taking the job just like a job, right? I was really focused, asking a lot of questions, going above and beyond, like, hey, things that were really not on my business, but I wanted it to be my business, right? So it was very much digging, hey, how do you do that? How do you, how do the books make sense? How do you prepare for this? Like, until I felt that I learned enough, right? And I want to say enough because one thing that I want to stress out, like as women, we tend to want to make sure that everything's perfect before we launch something. And I feel that's one of the things that hold us back. I feel like once we're at 60%, we probably are over 110 of like what men are, are. So I want to make yes, but make sure that you're not letting that fear of being overly prepared. It's hard. It's just kind of taking that and taking that leap and making sure that you're just kind of going after what you want to do. One thing that I focus a lot on because it was my biggest challenge, it was, in making on fundraising. So, a lot of the work that I do outside of the restaurants is trying to funding for women, for minor women, be very challenging. Basically, show up to the bank and they look at you as like you're completely unbankable, even though, I had a lot of experience in the field, had a good credit, which, not that, but they were like, yeah, no, like, it was very, very difficult. And, that access to funding is crucial to be able to start. It obviously depends on the business, but just being resilient and not taking no for an answer and just like turning every corner, everything that I could, having every conversation, so every person, and just making sure that they understood my mission and what I wanted to do, I think was very crucial in kind of just getting the business started. And ultimately kind of finding investors, because like I said, a lot of, a lot of what I faced was not being able to get funding. And I think that's what really stops a lot of other jefas that have amazing business ideas and unfortunately are not able to set it off the ground. But that's why I'm a big believer in just not taking no for an answer. It's just like you have to have the conversations, be incredibly confident in yourself. I think that's also one thing. It's just like, you have to speak that confidence for people to listen. So have your idea, as colorful as you imagine it, make sure that you can speak about it and, make sure that you have that kind of down, that you are able to tell every person that you can about it, because you never know. You really never know where is the connection, which person that you meet is going to be the one that's going to make it happen for you, like assist you in that. So, I would say, the journey is being ultimately, if I had to resume, it would be about resiliency, just making sure that you're prepared and you don't give up.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. And like you said, confidence, definitely showing up with that confidence and that ultimate belief in your vision and in your idea. Because it is very difficult in this generation of our parents and family that had to sacrifice so much to get us where we are at as well, for them to be able to also see the same things that we see, especially before we make it happen. Right. So when it's still in that vision stage, confidence in ourselves and trusting in our vision is so important.
And especially when we're doing things that, speak about our culture, right? That it's not as easy, when you're breaking ground, it's not as easy for people to see it, right? I'm sure like, as Jocelyn or TK were saying, like, when you're trying to really just bring product from your culture or doing something that hasn't been done before in a place that hasn't been, like, it's, when you're doing something great, then it's also going to take great effort, because it's not what everyone else is doing. So that's also something to, like, I would say, to keep in mind, that great things take great effort, and, just keep at it.
Absolutely. When you're bringing nopales to the New York Times.
Exactly.
TK. TK, so I truly admire you because having a business determined to drive change is so powerful, like all of you are doing here, and it is necessary, especially in these current times. Can you talk to us about the positive impact that you have built for the community with your businesses, and how have you been able to measure that impact that you've been able to generate?
Yeah, I mean, I think so much of what we do with Las Ofrendas, with Fuego, with Frida Friday is direct impact for our community and building community and visibility for other entrepreneurs and other creatives. So one way that we measure it is literally by just asking, connecting directly with the people that we work with and asking them, how is this impacting you? Continuing to build relationships, like both during the markets and outside of the markets. We had, prior to COVID, we were doing education programs to increase the knowledge that our creative community was getting around entrepreneurship. Because I absolutely agree with you, Daniela. I think that so many of us don't have access to capital or don't have access to the tools. I mean, that's what We All Grow Latina is all about, right? Giving us access to understanding how to grow businesses. So we did that on a very micro level within Austin. And we're hoping to be able to reignite those classes again in 2022 live. But a lot of that is really just asking, look, what do you all need? How are we building with each other? How are we creating networks with each other? Seeing each other as humans and really taking the time to invest in each other, doing exactly, Anna, what you're saying, like asking each other to invest in each other. Hey, here's a business that we know, makes, I don't know, bath bombs, right? And this is a POC, this is a Black-owned business, for example, or a Latino-owned business. Please put your money where we see, where we want to invest, right? And really using our platform with Frida Friday ATX to be able to highlight those vendors and make sure that we promote them. Because prior to Frida Friday, the reason I started Frida Friday was because there was no Latinx, there was no POC marketplace in Austin. And I, as a vendor, was having a really hard time being able to get accepted into spaces that didn't see my work as valuable and didn't see my work as important. So really looking back on the ways that what I needed as an entrepreneur, and then trying to create those resources within our business right now so that folks, we're creating the bridge, as Gloria Anzaldúa says, right? We're creating there was no bridge, we created it as we walked, right? So really doing that work is, I think, the way that we've been able to impact community most.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing that. I also that you shared earlier something that you do take in the data of the actual economic impact, how that is affecting the local economy. And I think that is so important because at the end of the day, the gatekeepers still speak with numbers and data and money. And so being able to prove that is very important.
Yeah, and it's interesting because I think a lot of times our communities don't always have access to financial literacy. And so when we're asking them, hey, how much did you make at the market? It's almost like frightening to them to have to be asked, right? But really what we're trying to do is generate wealth. And so we need to know, hey, is this impactful? And if it's not, then let's not put our energy towards something that's not impactful. Let's move our energy and put it somewhere that is going to generate impact in ways that we all want to see so that we can all win together. But that's been something I've had to learn, because even my own self, I've been nervous to ask them, like, how did the market go?
We don't like to talk about money, but we have to change that for sure, because
we have to.
It's about that exchange that at the end of the day, it's exchange of energy. And we need to understand how that is impacting us by staying in that secretive culture, the pena, that, taboos, to not talk about that. So last question that I have for all of you, and we're 5 minutes away and we want to make sure that we end on time. And as well, we have tons of beautiful comments in the chat room, but we haven't received a question. So we're going to go ahead and ask the last question that we have here. Okay. So last week and today, we have been celebrating Latina jefas like yourself and this journey of being Latina business owners. And as we partner with Comcast Rise, it's been significant because we definitely want to give visibility to programs like Comcast Rise. We want more Latinx businesses to know that these programs are out there for them and deserve to be part of them. As we know, like Jocelyn shared, that she relied on a lot of grants that were put out last year. Daniela has been talking so much about the importance of financing, etc. So we want to drive more awareness and ultimately more applications. And we know why, because when you get access to this type of support, it not only helps you advance, but it puts you in the line of making your business more sustainable and possible. So let's talk about help and getting comfortable asking for help. Help sometimes can mean hiring experts to work on all the areas you can't focus on because you need to focus on your product or to get new equipment to scale the business operations, and the list goes on and on. And I know all of us in this group, we understand that we just can't do it all. We can't do it all alone. And then TK actually made a point of that. And even if we are the founders or at the beginning, it started with us only. So for example, thanks to the community around us and initiatives similar to Comcast Rise, I can openly say that we have expanded, grown, and evolved. We, as a company, have been able to contribute back to our community. So I take a lot of pride in extending the message on initiatives like this so that our people can go after and build a more robust ecosystem for Latina business owners. So based on what I just shared, Jocelyn, Daniela, and TK, would you please tell us what have been those, let's say, one major decision that helped get your business to scale? And very important, what is the power and how do you value the community and support system behind you? So what is that major decision that help get your business to scale? And how do you value the community and support system behind you? TK, let's start with you. And I see that we lost Daniela. She was having internet issues, so hopefully we'll get her back on.
That's such a powerful question. And I think I'm really actually learning it. It's so great to hear from you, Jocelyn, and from Daniela as well. I think it's hiring people. Honestly, like I think it's investing in hiring people. Mm-hmm. And I think that with that comes a lot of work, like comes emotional work, comes like you having to be prepared and learning how to manage and understand your leadership skills. And I very much think that I'm in the process of that right now. Like I'm having to think through how to delegate, how to hold people accountable, how to be compassionate, and also how to create structure. And all of that comes from like that one action, right? But I think it's very scary. As an independent, I mean, Las Ofrendas was like a micro independent one-person show, right? Having to take the risk to hire someone and having to do that during COVID was so frightening, right? Because we don't know what's going to happen next. But it was such an important move. And I think it's something that every single small independent artist I talk to out here, it's the number one thing I advise them to do. So I think that was my largest learning curve.
Thanks for sharing. Daniela, I don't know if you caught the question, but we're asking, we'll go with Jocelyn, but just that one major decision that helped get your business to scale, and how do you value the community and support system behind you? So Jocelyn.
Yeah, I mean, I think going along with what TK is sharing is definitely hiring a really great team. During the pandemic was the first time that I ever hired full-time salaried employees, which was scary because you have to make sure that there's always income coming in to make sure that you're covering the costs of that labor. But they're coming in with expertise, taking so much off your plate. And it helps to create a system that allows you to focus on the bigger picture rather than all the small tasks that need to get done on the day-to-day. I also, in the process of working on the seasoning, hired quite a few outside contractors. So I hired a consulting agency that specifically specializes in consumer packaged goods, or CPG, to help me go from formula, packaging, hired a graphic design team, have been outsourcing all the things. Like I was taking all our Todo Verde photos. Now I have a food photographer. Like just being able to really say, hey, when I assemble a really great team, we can produce more great work together. But now I'm finding that I'm just becoming a bottleneck too, because I have a lot of people who are starting to work with us, and then they all come to me, and now I'm kind of becoming a little bit of like the slow down in the process. So trying to figure out better systems so that not everybody needs to come to me for everything, and people feel a sense of ownership, a sense of leadership. I mean, that in a nutshell is like everything that a business owner needs to do. Like TK was saying, like prior to Todo Verde, I was working at a university, and I was coordinator of student life, working with a lot of student leaders on campus. And so I'm able to kind of transition a lot of that into the work that I'm doing now, and how do I grow people with my team now to feel empowered to make choices that will help everyone on the team.
I can relate with everything that you both said. There's definitely been a year of growth with the team and understanding how to be a conscious leader and help them in their own professional growth as well and personal development. Daniela, I think she's frozen again. I know.
She looks great again,
she's
though.
joining us from
great.
Europe during her honeymoon, así que ahí está. She always freezes in the best post.
Yeah.
I'm here. I'm sorry. I know I'm out. But I was going to say, the importance of, and sorry if I am misspeaking because I got caught out in the half of this, but I would say just trying to really be on the business rather than in the business all the time is a challenging kind of transition, but something that is very important, and kind of being able to trust your team that you've worked very hard with to do the things that you set as a goal, and taking a step back and watching things grow and evolve is also important.
I think
your people, it's very, becomes a very controlling thing, but being able to ultimately have people take control over their roles has been very important in our growth, and something that has been challenging, but also very important to do. Yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful. Well, I wish we had like another 30 minutes with all of you. People are still completely engaged, but I want to honor your time that you all gave us to be here and to share your wisdom and to share your journeys with us and to truly inspire this generation and next generation of Latina leaders and jefas. So thank you, all of you, for attending. This is our last gathering and part of our Celebrate Latina Jefas in collaboration with Comcast Rise. If you were not here last week or you would like to rewatch today's and last week's conversation, keep an eye out for our emails, as we will share a link for you to replay this magic. And don't forget to check out the amazing funding opportunities for small business owners provided by Comcast Rise. Share with your friend and visit the website at comcastrise.com and apply for the award you feel will be the most significant benefit to you. The core applications, as a reminder, are open on a rolling basis, while the investment fund applications just open on October 1st and will be available through tomorrow, October 14th. Otra vez, TK, Daniela, Jocelyn, beso, abrazo, mil gracias. You can always count on us for support and anything you need. Muchas gracias.